Harry took a day off the day after Meghan left Invictus. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about emotional exhaustion, and I want to give you some tips to recognize it in your own life. So let's get ready to get into this. But before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. Okay, everyone, let's just get into the article. The article is titled Prince Harry Gushes About How Special It Was to Have Meghan at His Side During the Invictus Games, as he has a day off to unwind hours after she jetted home to LA. Red flag alert. Do you see it too? I do, for sure. So let's continue reading. Prince Harry has gushed about the importance of having his wife by his side at the Invictus Games, the day after she flew back to their home in California. He said having Meghan's support at the events was amazing, adding, "I love that she is by my side." The comments came after Meghan flew back to be with their children at their home in Montecito after spending 5 days in Vancouver and the ski resort of Whistler. Okay, this statement, "I love that she is by my side." I have video evidence that that is likely not the case, allegedly. The article continues. Aides said the trip home was pre planned and Meghan had only intended to stay for 5 days, as she had at the 2023 event in Germany. Following his wife's departure, the prince has reportedly taken a day off to relax and unwind. In a recent Instagram post, the Duchess of Sussex showed she is supporting Harry from afar and said she is cheering him on from home. Harry spoke to their favorite US based magazine People to talk about Invictus and the impact it has on people's lives. Okay, let's just read through what we're seeing here because I think there's a lot for us to read through the lines. In my opinion, I do not think this was pre planned for her to go back. The story was originally that because of security concerns, they didn't want it to get out that Meghan was going to be leaving early. However, we knew that she would be going. So I don't know why they're emphasizing so much that this was pre planned. And I think it's because after all of the footage that we've all seen, we wouldn't expect it to be pre planned. The evidence is against pre planned. Everything here that's being said is all for appearances. Following his wife's departure, he reportedly took a day off to relax. What does that mean? I mean, if you're husband and wife and you have the ability to take a day off, wouldn't you take it the day your wife is there so you could spend it together? This is telling, and this is what I want to talk about in this video, but we'll get into that in a minute. We see again, Meghan is using Instagram to try to paint this picture of what their life is, and I think it's a far cry from what reality is. I mean, I know we always have these conversations with people about how social media is not a real indication of what's happening inside a family, inside a home. Most of the time, people only post the best stuff that's happening, or they exaggerate things to make them look like the best. In my opinion, the reality here is completely different. They say Harry spoke to People about Invictus. So they bring up this article because they want to introduce the next statement. And the next statement says, in the interview published today, Harry was glowing in his praise for Meghan, who took center stage with her public displays of affections at the opening ceremony in front of 40,000 people in Vancouver. There is a huge push for them to look like things are going well. I don't buy it. I don't think many people buy it. I believe that we are seriously seeing the downfall of their relationship. Even though I feel like it's been happening for a long time, I feel like it's happening at an exponential rate now. It doesn't help that Meghan has Instagram because before, our only insight into her life came through the articles she would put out in magazines through PR, allegedly. Now we have even more access to her, which doesn't make any sense because if you're so concerned about privacy, why are you doing this? We know the answer to that is twofold. The first is, I don't think she really cares about privacy. I think this was a tool she used to manipulate Harry. I think she used it in the beginning to hook him multiple ways because this issue of privacy is then related to the press. Using this security as an excuse to reel Harry in is seriously a very cruel thing to do because it's playing on his trauma. So in my opinion, her issue that she's had with security from the get-go was to try to manipulate Harry and make a trauma bond. The other thing I think she was doing is playing the damsel in distress. We've heard Harry say multiple times, if only I could have done something different, maybe I could have saved my mom. Megan manipulated that. Okay, so that's all I have to say about this article. I'm curious to know what your input is, what you think about this article. Are you reading anything between the lines that I may have missed? Let me know. But let's get back to this. Prince Harry suddenly taking a day off right after Meghan leaves raises some interesting questions. On the surface, it seems like a coincidence, but given the patterns in their relationship, given the footage that's out there, given some of the clips that I've made, I think it's important that we look at it as a big picture and see if there is something deeper. So, is Harry taking this day off a sign of emotional exhaustion? Whenever Meghan is around, Harry seems tense, performative, and emotionally drained. But when she's not, he appears more relaxed and natural. So, did Meghan's presence at Invictus feel like an emotional burden, leading Harry to need a full day to unwind once she left? The fact that he didn't need a break while she was there, but suddenly does after she leaves, could suggest that having her around is exhausting for him, and we can see that. So, I think all of this points to Meghan's intensity, control, and need for attention at events, and this all takes a toll on Harry so much so that he has to reset once she's gone. Could this also be a subtle sign of relationship strain? Harry often overcompensates in public when Meghan is present, gushing about her, engaging in PDA, making sure she's the center of attention. The fact that he instantly praises Meghan after she leaves suggests that he knows he has to maintain a specific narrative. The PDA and the I love having her by my side comments feel like preemptive damage control, as if he has to keep reinforcing this public narrative. If Megan's presence was truly effortless and supportive, would he need to take time off as soon as she's gone? When someone has to recover after their partner leaves, it usually isn't a sign of a peaceful, easygoing relationship. And I think this indicates tension, stress, and a sense of relief. What about this pre planned excuse? Does it sound too convenient? Whenever Megan leaves an event early, there's always a PR friendly excuse, usually about the children or prior commitments. The claim that she was only supposed to stay 5 days could be damage control to prevent speculation that she left abruptly. So, did she intentionally exit after securing the media coverage that she wanted? Did she see the backlash that's going on online? Was she told to leave? Did an argument happen? Any of these things could be true. This whole thing, though, follows a predictable pattern. Megan shows up for attention, dominates the headlines, and then disappears once the real event begins. At past events when Megan isn't present, Harry seems more at ease, more connected, and genuinely happy. And I think we're seeing that already in his interaction since Megan left. His best and most natural moments at Invictus often happen when Megan isn't around. If she were a true emotional support for him, wouldn't he be energized by her presence instead of needing a break? To me, this feels like a subtle indication that he operates better mentally and emotionally when she isn't dominating his space. If Harry is consistently more at peace when Megan isn't around, what does that say about their dynamic behind the scenes? And what about this whole thing of cheering from afar? That Instagram post to me feels performative, as if she's trying to control the optics of her exit. Why would she need to publicly state she's supporting him if it was genuinely understood in their marriage? And if she had to return home for the children, why this extra PR? It feels unnecessary. This feels less like a natural show of support and more like a way to keep herself in the narrative even after she's left. So, is this a telling moment in their relationship? I think so. Harry's need for a break after Meghan leaves is suspicious. His over the top praise for her feels like PR damage control. Meghan's early exit follows a predictable self serving pattern, and Harry seems to function better and more naturally when she's not there. I'm curious to know, what do you all think? Do you think Harry's day off is an escape from emotional exhaustion? And do you think he's happier without Meghan in these settings? So now I want to turn this into something that's relatable to you and I. I talk about Harry and Meghan because they are a great example of what narcissism is like in a relationship. And almost consistently, there are teachable moments whenever they're together and in these articles that come out. Let's talk about a couple of things that can happen in romantic relationships, in family dynamics, in friendships and social circles, and in the workplace. In a romantic relationship, when a partner constantly dominates conversations, makes everything about them, or demands constant attention, can make their partner feel mentally exhausted after spending time together and only feel at peace when the partner is gone. They're walking on eggshells constantly, performing a role rather than being themselves. In family dynamics, there might be a parent, sibling, or relative that drains energy by always demanding emotional labor, guilt tripping, or being hypercritical. Family gatherings may lead to needing a day or two to recover. There might even be guilt associated with enjoying time away from the family, but there's also relief. What about in friendships? A friend who is emotionally exhausting, constantly bringing drama, needing validation, or hijacking every interaction can cause you to feel obligated to include this person, but secretly look forward to their absence. After spending time with them, you may crash from the exhaustion. And in the workplace, there might be a boss or coworker who micromanages, drains energy, and makes everything stressful. You might get more work done when that person is out of the office. You can feel lighter, more productive, and more yourself when this person isn't around. So, if you feel relieved when someone leaves, it's a sign that they drain your energy rather than add to your peace. How can you reclaim your rest and emotional energy? The first is recognize who drains you. If you feel lighter as soon as that person leaves, pay attention to that feeling. Ask yourself, do I feel exhausted when they're around? Am I performing for them? Do I feel guilty for being myself? Create distance and boundaries. If possible, limit time with these emotionally draining people. Set clear boundaries around topics, time, and energy, and don't feel guilty for protecting your peace. Just like Harry, find your own day off moments. Do something that actually relaxes you, not just numbing out with social media or television. This is advice I should take. Take a solo trip, unplug, or engage in hobbies that make you feel like you. Notice the difference in how you feel when you're alone versus when you're with that person. And practice guilt free joy. Narcissistic or emotionally draining people make you feel like you need their approval to enjoy life. Give yourself permission to find happiness and peace without them. Your body and mind will tell you who drains you. Don't ignore the feeling of relief when they leave. I've been telling stories in my last couple of videos, and I think it helps connect the dots between what we see in Megan and what we talked about and how this can actually look in real life. So I'm going to start with a story, a day of peace after emotional exhaustion. Meet Claire. She's been dating Ryan for 3 years. Everyone says they're a perfect couple, but something never quite feels right. Ryan is charming, social, and always knows the right things to say in public, but in private, he makes everything about him. Claire has to praise him constantly, support his ambitions, and adjust to his moods. If she's feeling tired, Ryan accuses her of not being present or not supporting him enough. One weekend, they go on a trip together. Claire spends every moment catering to Ryan's needs: where to eat, what to do, how to make him feel good about himself. The second he senses she's not fully focused on him, he sulks or makes passive aggressive comments. By the time they get home, Claire feels like she ran an emotional marathon. Then something happens. Ryan suddenly has to leave for a last minute work trip. For the first time in weeks, Claire is alone. At first, she doesn't know what to do with herself. She's so used to managing Ryan's emotions that she feels empty. But then something shifts. She takes a long bath without interruptions. She watches a movie she actually enjoys. She reads a book without guilt. She eats dinner in silence without having to perform. And then it hits her. She feels peaceful for the first time in months. Her mind isn't filled with worry. Her body isn't tense. She isn't anticipating the next emotional demand. She realizes this isn't just a day off from Ryan. This is what life would feel like without him. And for the first time, she asks herself, why does my life feel better when he's not in it? That question changes everything. So let's bring this all together. If you feel relieved when someone leaves, that's a sign they were draining you. Guilt free peace is a signal that you don't need that person's energy in your life. Pay attention to how you feel when you're alone versus when they're around. And it's okay to prioritize rest, distance, and self care. I want to thank you all for listening. I'm curious to know how you feel about this, so please feel free to drop that in the comments. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know whenever new videos are released. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye, everyone. If Valentine's Day with a narcissist feels more like an emotional obstacle course than a celebration of love, you're not alone. This day can be incredibly triggering for them, which means it often becomes painful for you. That's why I put together a guide called Surviving Valentine's Day with a Narcissist Protecting Your Peace. Inside, I break down why this holiday brings out their worst, the tactics they use, and most importantly, how you can protect your energy. There are also some journaling prompts and recovery strategies to help you process everything afterwards. You can grab it now on my Patreon. I'll leave the link in the description. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.